close up Bob Mueller's witch hunt. Democrats have come to the realization that the dossier about Trump was false. The FBI used this false document to investigate the Trump campaign. Well, now Trey Gowdy drops her bomb on the Democrats. House Intelligence Committee member Trey Gowdy discussed the accusations from Democrats and the media that he and the GOP are trying to discredit the dossier. Well, technically they're right. They're trying to discredit the lies that have wasted so much money and government resources. Advertisement: I don't know why anyone, from California Rep. Adam Schiff, to Vanity Fair, to Rachel Maddow, would not be curious whether or not the world's premier law enforcement agency relied upon a dossier in connection with an investigation without vetting it, Gowdy said on Friday. Trey Gowdy drops her bomb on the Democrats when he asked why they are fearful that the FBI relied on a false piece of information. Why are the Democrats focused so intensely on this? He gave his response to the Democrats who have been whining about the GOP issuing a subpoena to AG Jeff Sessions and the new FBI Director Christopher Wray about the validity of the dossier. They want answers, as do the American people. Advertisement: Committee Republicans issued a subpoena for Sessions and Wray August 24, seeking information about how central the dossier is to the collusion investigation and how it was vetted. The agencies have yet to provide the documents, so the deadline has been extended to September 14. The committee is also trying to get meetings with Sessions and Wray. They want to know why the dossier is being withheld from the Congress. But Gowdy dismisses the Democrats' complaint. I really don't know what in the hell they're talking about. Gowdy, a former federal prosecutor, says that the FBI and DOJ have ignored months and months of requests for information about the dossier. The agencies have largely ignored similar requests made by the Senate Judiciary Committee, which has also focused heavily on the dossier but has yet to issue subpoenas for the FBI and DOJ. In reality, once this dossier is released to Congress, they will find another thing to pursue. The dossier is fake and was acknowledged as fake by its creator. What do you think of this? Breaking: Trump may have another pardon up his sleeve. Obama hates it. Cliven Bundy, the Bundy family patriarch, was arrested in February 2016 on charges connected to a 2014 standoff between federal agents and the Bundy family. The Bundy family has been engaged in a decade-long legal battle with the Federal Bureau of Land Management. After paying grazing fees for a number of years, in 1993, Cliven Bundy refused to renew his grazing permit in an act of protest against the BLM. In 2014, BLM agents launched a cattle gather in an attempt to round up and auction off cattle owned by Cliven Bundy, which were supposedly trespassing on federal land. Almost exactly 2 years later, Cliven Bundy's sons Ammon and Ryan helped organize a similar protest in Oregon. The younger Bundy family members temporarily took over the Mueller National Wildlife Refuge outside of Burns, Oregon. The Bundy family arrived in Oregon to protest their conviction in early 2016. According to the Daily Caller, Cliven Bundy is the only member of the Bundy family still facing charges. Alert: Benghazi investigation report released, trail points straight to Hillary. New details are emerging about Clinton's misdeeds every week, and it is becoming increasingly hard to see how the former presidential nominee will remain a credible player in the political scene. A new report has come out from the Select Committee on the events surrounding the 2012 terrorist attack in Benghazi, and it ended up confirming what most suspected all along. The Obama administration, which of course includes Hillary Clinton, completely failed to keep American diplomats properly protected and safe during that infamous attack. The new report features 81 new witnesses and 75,000 new pages of documents, and served to show just how profoundly incompetent the previous administration, as well as former Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, were in response to the Benghazi attacks. Coming in at just over 800 pages long, the report goes into extensive detail, and leaves no stone unturned as to what transpired during the attack. Many key revelations show just how lacking the previous administration's response was to this emergency. Despite President Obama and Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta's clear orders to deploy military assets, nothing was sent to Benghazi, and nothing was en route to Libya at the time the last 2 Americans were killed almost 8 hours after the attacks began, the report said. It's a shocking level of inefficiency, and there was a fleet anti-terrorism security team, FAST, based out of Rota, Spain, sitting on a plane for over 3 hours, waiting to respond. Even worse, none of the military assets in the area met their required deployment times. We expect our government to make every effort to save the lives of Americans who serve in harm's way. That did not happen in Benghazi, said Representative Mike Pompeo, RKS, in response to this report. Politics were put ahead of the lives of Americans, and while the administration had made excuses and blamed the challenges posed by time and distance, the truth is that they did not try. Another elected official, Representative Martha Roby, RL, was equally shocked over the findings. Our committee's insistence on additional information about the military's response to the Benghazi attacks was met with strong opposition from the Defense Department, and now we know why. Instead of attempting to hide deficiencies in our posture and performance, it's my hope our report will help ensure we fix what went wrong so that a tragedy like this never happens again. Of course, the infamous excuse Clinton used was that this attack was caused by a YouTube video, when in fact, she told her daughter as well as the Egyptian Prime Minister that it was a planned terrorist attack that had nothing to do with the film. Obama administration officials, including the Secretary of State, learned almost in real time that the attack in Benghazi was a terrorist attack, said Representative Jim Jordan, RO. He continues, rather than tell the American people the truth, the administration told one story privately and a different story publicly. With even more damning information about Clinton surfacing almost regularly, it's hard to see who she will blame next for this failure, except herself. "9/11 survivor comes forward, reveals shocking truth about Donald Trump." September 11, 2001, will always live in the hearts of Americans as one of the biggest tragedies our country has ever faced. Now, over 15 years later, we are still striving to make America a safe place for ourselves, and future generations. One first responder from 9/11, Philip Kirshner, is struggling to get his health back on track after helping at Ground Zero. According to Breitbart, the courageous survivor spoke at length about his health, his political beliefs post 9/11, and how he believes that President Trump is a good person, despite the left's opinion. "I want people to learn that he's a humanitarian, that he reaches out, he donates," Kirshner said. He also recalled that he, Donald Trump, did quite a number, of angel flights with groups. As of now, Kirshner is battling heart disease and kidney cancer. He said that, despite the problems he may be facing now, he does not regret helping people that day. In 2011, Kirshner was hospitalized in Florida, and needed to go to the Cleveland clinic to get the treatment he required. Unfortunately, Florida refused to transport him, which left him with few options. The survivor explained that he was able to make it to the Cleveland clinic in 2011 due to President Trump's donation, which came through the charity group Angel Flight. It was at this point that Kirshner knew he needed to clear the air about President Trump once and for all. He did quite a number, of angel flights with groups, Kirshner recalled. "I want people to learn that he's a humanitarian, that he reaches out, he donates. It's messages like these that the mainstream media is quite eager to ignore, so most people don't know the truth. However, it's obvious that Trump has been helping people for a very long time. He is not the cold and calculating businessman that the media says he is." Kirshner went on to explain how he was a lifelong Democrat until September 11, 2001. One of the deciding factors for him was his fiancée losing her job. She was also forced to train her replacement, a foreigner who was here on an H-1B visa. Since that time, his eyes have been opened to other obvious truths. This nation is in such dire straits right now. I am a student of history, and when you change the language and when you dumb it down and you change the moral and ethical code of a nation, Things like Nazi Germany could happen. That's my concern. Kirshner explained that we need a candidate who will make an effort to work toward establishing a better country, something President Trump has been doing since his first day in office. It is this kind of change, Kirshner reasoned, that could save us. Kirshner also explained that he would never vote for Hillary Clinton. His cited reason at the time was that he believes her relationship with the Muslim Sisterhood is counterproductive to American values. All in all, the point is, there is more to President Trump than meets the eye. When you only follow the mainstream media, you lose stories like Kirshner. Florida sheriff enraged every thug that stayed behind after deputy shoots looter. A Florida sheriff enraged over the recent lootings posted a message for looters after one of his deputies was forced to shoot a looter. In a South Florida robbery, one suspect was shot and the other was arrested. The burglary happened around 3 a.m. Sunday morning. It was at a residence on Monterey Court in Broward County. Advertisement: police responded to the house after the owners called and told them that their cameras caught the burglars in the house. The owners had evacuated once they saw the burglars inside. The suspect who was shot was Dylan Lemon. He was taken to the hospital and had no life-threatening injuries. The other subject, Gene Coelho, was arrested. Both criminals are only age 17. Both suspects are facing burglary and grand theft charges. Advertisement: the special weapons and the tactical team also were present at the house to aid the police. The deputy who shot the first suspect was completely safe, and now he's even safer now that his name hasn't been released. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement is conducting the investigation. The sheriff is fully endorsing his deputy's decision and doubled down on the support he gives his department with the next move he made. Backing his deputy's decision up and just doubled down on that support with what else he did. After the incident had been resolved and the perpetrators got the punishment they had coming, the Florida sheriff Enraged took to social media to issue a very targeted warning to the other robbers and criminals in Broward County. Looting during the storm will not be tolerated. Looters will be identified, investigated, and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, a written message said on the sheriff's office's Facebook page. What do you think about this story? Check out the video he published below. The Supreme Court has just blocked the restrictions on Trump's travel ban. As per reports, the Supreme Court reaffirms support of President Trump by blocking the Ninth Circuit Court's restrictions on President Trump's travel ban from taking effect. This means that the full law will now take. This is a win for the president, who has seen a lot of attacks against him and his efforts to make this country as safe as it can be. In a one-page order that was approved by Justice Anthony Kennedy, the court for the time being blocked the portion of last week's Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruling that stopped the government from forbidding refugees entry. Refugees can go to the other nations in Africa and the Middle East that aren't going to war. This is all a takeover of the Western world in an attempt to turn it into a third world. Advertisement: the Supreme Court's decision came less than 2 hours after Acting Solicitor General Jeffrey Wall filed a request for a stay. Last week, Ninth Circuit stopped the federal government from turning away grandparents, aunts, uncles and other extended family members of a person in the U.S. from entering the country. The administration isn't fighting the close family portion of the injunction. Advertisement: unlike students who have been admitted to study at an American university, workers who have accepted jobs at an American company, and lecturers who come to speak to an American audience, refugees did not have any freestanding connection to resettlement agencies, separate and apart from the refugee admissions process itself, by virtue of the agency's assurance agreement with the government, Wall wrote. The Supreme Court reaffirms support when it tells liberals that the travel ban is legal and is upheld for the most part. The reality of the travel ban is one to protect Americans, even the liberals. Why would they fight so hard to turn the U.S. into a third world country? The Trump administration's travel ban blocks travelers from Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria and Yemen from entering the U.S. for 90 days. The Supreme Court will hear arguments in 2 cases that have been consolidated challenging the ban on October 10. What do you think of this good news?